Imagine this. It's the 1950s, the golden age of Hollywood, the dawn of the space race, a time of boundless optimism. But high above the sprawling city of Los Angeles, something strange was stirring in the skies, something ancient, and something that defied all explanation. Today, we're peeling back the layers of a forgotten chapter of American history, a story of giant, mysterious creatures that haunted the California skies. This is the incredible tale of the Los Angeles Sky Monsters. Our story begins not with a bang, but with a series of unsettling whispers that grew into a roar of public panic. Throughout the 1950s, residents of Los Angeles and the surrounding areas began reporting something truly bizarre. They weren't seeing flying saucers or little green men. They were seeing enormous, winged creatures soaring effortlessly through the air. These weren't just birds. They were described as monstrous in size, with leathery skin and wings that blotted out the sun. Eyewitnesses, from housewives to businessmen, all told a similar story, a creature of impossible proportions, flying with a slow, powerful grace. Think about the atmosphere of the time. This was an era of Cold War paranoia. People were already looking to the skies, wary of enemy bombers. But what they saw wasn't man-made. The descriptions were consistent and chilling. Witnesses spoke of wingspans that were simply staggering, estimated to be anywhere from 25 to 50 feet across. To put that into perspective, that's wider than a school bus is long. These creatures were often described as dark, almost black, with a shape that was reptilian or bat-like, yet possessed features eerily similar to a gigantic bird. One of the most compelling aspects of these sightings is how they echoed ancient myths. Many of the descriptions lined up perfectly with the Thunderbird, a legendary creature from Native American folklore. For centuries, various tribes across North America have passed down stories of these immense, powerful birds, said to be capable of creating thunder with the beat of their wings and shooting lightning from their eyes. They were seen as sacred, powerful spirits of the sky, both revered and feared. Was it possible that what people were seeing over modern-day Los Angeles was the very same creature from these ancient legends? The sightings became so frequent and so credible that the local newspapers couldn't ignore them. Headlines screamed about sky monsters and giant winged serpents. The public was captivated and terrified. Was it mass hysteria, a collective illusion, or was there something tangible soaring above their heads? One newspaper from the era, the Los Angeles Herald-Express, ran a story detailing an account from a group of construction workers who claimed to have seen one of these creatures circle overhead for several minutes before disappearing into the clouds. They were adamant, describing it as a living nightmare. But this wasn't just a case of eyewitness testimony. The mystery deepened when the military got involved, albeit unofficially. There were numerous reports from the time of unexplained disturbances on military radar installations around Southern California. These were not your typical weather anomalies or mechanical glitches. Operators were tracking large, fast-moving objects that didn't conform to the flight patterns of any known aircraft. These blips would appear suddenly, move at incredible speeds, and then vanish just as quickly. The objects were big, much bigger than a conventional plane. Could these radar phantoms have been the very same sky monsters people were reporting from the ground? The military, of course, remained tight-lipped. Officially, there was nothing to see, no comment on the strange radar readings. But behind the scenes, you can bet there was a flurry of activity and confusion. They were tasked with defending the nation's airspace, and here was something they couldn't identify, couldn't explain, and certainly couldn't catch. The lack of an official explanation only fueled the public's imagination and fear. If the might of the US military was stumped, what hope did the average citizen have? This brings us to the scientific community of the 1950s. When presented with the evidence, the eyewitness accounts, the newspaper clippings, the rumored radar data, they were, to put it mildly, baffled. The biggest problem was the sheer size of the creature. Biologists and paleontologists were quick to point out that according to our understanding of aerodynamics and biology, a bird or reptile of that size simply couldn't fly. The largest known flying creature in history, the Quetzalcoatlus, a pterosaur from the late Cretaceous period, had the wingspan of around 36 feet. The creatures being described over LI were reportedly even larger. How could such a massive biological entity generate enough lift to get off the ground, let alone soar gracefully for extended periods? The laws of physics seemed to be against the existence of these creatures. The muscle mass required, the bone density, the metabolic rate, all added up to an impossibility. Scientists offered a range of conventional explanations. Maybe people were misidentifying large birds like condors or pelicans, their size exaggerated by distance and perspective. Perhaps they were seeing experimental military aircraft, secret projects that the government wasn't ready to reveal. Some even suggested weather balloons or unusual cloud formations. But these explanations didn't quite fit. Experienced birdwatchers, pilots, and military personnel were among the witnesses, people who knew what a condor looked like, who could differentiate a plane from a balloon. And none of these explanations accounted for the consistent, detailed descriptions of leathery wings, reptilian heads, and the sheer awe-inspiring scale of the beings. The sky monsters remained an enigma, a puzzle that science in the 1950s simply couldn't solve. The case files, so to speak, were left open, and as the sightings began to taper off toward the end of the decade, the story of the Los Angeles sky monsters slowly faded from public memory, becoming just another strange footnote in a decade of high weirdness. But the story doesn't end there. In the modern era, with the advent of the internet and a renewed interest in cryptozoology and unsolved mysteries, the Los Angeles sky monster sightings have been rediscovered. Researchers and enthusiasts have been digging through old newspaper archives, re-examining witness statements, and trying to connect the dots. And the theory that keeps coming back, the one that seems to tie everything together, is the Thunderbird. Modern theories propose that what people saw in the 1950s wasn't a pterosaur that had somehow survived extinction for 66 million years. Instead, they suggest the possibility of a yet undiscovered species of giant bird or flying reptile, one that has managed to remain hidden from science, perhaps living in remote, unpopulated areas and only occasionally venturing into human territory. The description of leathery, featherless wings has led some to speculate about the surviving population of pterosaurs, but the bird-like descriptions from other witnesses keep the Thunderbird theory at the forefront. Could a creature of this magnitude really exist, evading our detection for so long? It sounds incredible, but the world is a vast and mysterious place. We are still discovering new species in the deepest oceans and most remote jungles. Is it so far-fetched to think that something could be hiding in the vast, open skies? The link to the Thunderbird legend is perhaps the most fascinating part of this modern re-examination. It suggests that these sightings aren't just a 1950s phenomenon, but part of a much larger, global pattern of encounters with giant, unknown flying creatures that goes back centuries. From the legends of the ROC in the Middle East to the Kongamato in Central Africa, cultures all over the world have stories of enormous flying monsters. Could they all be describing the same thing? Could the sky monsters of Los Angeles be a modern manifestation of this ancient, global mystery? As we look back on this strange and unsettling period, we're left with more questions than answers. What were those creatures soaring over Los Angeles? Were they a surviving prehistoric species, a creature of folklore made real, or something else entirely? The eyewitnesses are mostly gone now, and the physical evidence, if it ever existed, has been lost to time. All we have are the stories, the faded newspaper clippings, and the lingering sense of wonder and fear. The tale of the 1950s Los Angeles sky monsters serves as a powerful reminder that there are still profound mysteries in our world, even in the skies above our biggest cities. It challenges our understanding of the natural world and reminds us that sometimes the most incredible stories are the ones that turn out to be true. What do you think was haunting the skies of LA? Was it a thunderbird, a surviving pterosaur, or just a case of mass hysteria? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this dive into a forgotten mystery, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations of the strange and unexplained. Until next time, keep looking up. You never know what you might see.